Well, good morning. It's good to be back with you again today on this Friday morning. Sorry we didn't have a rooted yesterday. I meant to get one out, but my day got away from me. Some days, you know how it is. You have the best laid schemes of mice and men, and I intended to get it rooted out, and it just didn't happen. So I apologize for that. But back at it today. Not sick, nothing wrong. Just my, my Wednesday got away from me, and I never managed to get it back under control. So but today we're going to be looking at Luke chapter 9. Just a couple verses, Luke 9, 46 through 48. An argument arose among them, to which of them was the greatest. But Jesus, aware of their inner thoughts, took a little child and put it at his side, and said to them, Whoever welcomes this child in my name welcomes me. And whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. For the least among you all is the greatest. So, remember, one of the keys to understanding Scripture, one of the keys to understanding how things work in the Bible is to see things in context. And this passage is pretty self-explanatory, and we'll unpack it. But I just do think it's an interesting comparison to look at what Jesus says here. He, well, look at the disciples. So we read recently about Jesus foretelling this, telling about his death. We read him healing someone. They see the greatness of God. Then Jesus says, "Okay, guys, I'm going to go to Jerusalem and die. The Son of Man's going to be betrayed into human hands." So Jesus tells them, "Guys, I'm gonna be betrayed. I'm going to be betrayed into human hands." And it says they didn't understand what he was saying. They didn't get it, so they didn't really know what to say. And so they had this moment where Jesus tells them, "Guys, I'm going to be betrayed. It's going to be bad. It's not going to be betrayal's never pleasant." No one's ever betrayed and said, yeah, that was fun. That's not the way betrayal works. So here we see Jesus tell them, hey, I'm going to be betrayed. And their almost immediate response is to get into an argument about who's going to be the greatest. So Jesus says, I'm going to be handed over. I'm going to be betrayed by those I love. And they respond to that by getting into a fight about which one of them is going to really be is going to be in charge. Who's going to really be in power? Who's really going to really be it? And I just think that's such a powerful juxtaposition of the way of how God sees the world, how Jesus sees the world, and frankly, how we as humans so often see the world. Jesus is saying, I'm going to be betrayed. I'm going to be turned on. It's going to be bad. And they respond by arguing over who's going to be in charge. Who's going to be the king? He's going to be sitting at Jesus' right hand. Who is it, Lord? I'm the best. No, I'm the best. No, I'm the best. And there's anything that sums up humanity pretty doggone well, that does it. That pretty much sums up who we are, is what we see there. Who's really the best? Who's in charge? So how does Jesus respond to this? He hears them. But Jesus, aware of their inner thoughts, took a little child and put it to his side and said, Whoever welcomes this child in my name welcomes me. Whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. For the least among all of you is the greatest. So Jesus says, you want to know what true greatness looks like? Trevor's the least. And that there are two things here that blow their minds in that context. One is he takes a little child, and friends, we live in a very child-friendly age. Like we see Jesus taking a child and we're going, oh, sweet little Jesus, oh, sweet little baby, oh goodness gracious, isn't that the most precious thing you've ever seen? We see Jesus taking the child and we're like, oh, oh, somebody get the camera, somebody get the camera out, somebody get the camera out, take a picture of this. Isn't that sweet? Isn't that precious? Oh, it just melts my heart. That's how we see this. That's how that's how we in our culture think of children, right? That's not the way Jesus context thought of children. Children were basically your prized possession, but they were a possession. They were property. You didn't kowtow to children the way we do. You didn't order your life around children. My goodness gracious. No, you'd never do that in that culture. No, children were Now, they were better than donkeys and mules most days. Some days you may rather have a donkey or mule than a child. But they were value. They had value. They had great worth. Think about Job. Job goes through him losing all of his possessions, and the last possession he loses is his children. So, you know, I mean, children had value, but it was not the child-centric thing it is now. So Jesus takes something that's basically not that important, a child, and says, "You want to be great? Be like this. Whoever welcomes this child, whoever welcomes this insignificant child, this child of no real value, this child of no real worth or no real importance, whoever welcomes this child welcomes me. Whoever welcomes me welcomes one who sent me." So you want to welcome the Father, you welcome the child. For the least among you is the greatest. What's greatness look like? In Jesus' world, in the world of Jesus is the one who is the least. Remember, this is Luke's gospel, the least, the last, and the lost. In Luke's gospel, Luke is always showing us how Jesus intercedes for, how Jesus speaks for, how Jesus shows himself to and with the underdog, the one everyone else is giving up on, the ones on the margins, the widows, the orphans, Mary, these ones that are on the margins that nobody cares about. That's who Jesus is, where he's showing himself, and frankly, as the church showing us, that's where we should go as well, is to the least of these, to the lost, to the ones that don't know, to the ones that don't feel important, to the ones that are not valued. That's where we are called to go. So you want to know what greatness looks like in Jesus' world? What greatness looks like for in God's economy? What greatness looks like in the mind of Jesus? It's there. It's with the least of these. It is with this child. It is with the ones that nobody else cares about. It is when we serve. It is when we humble ourselves. It is when we allow ourselves to be, you know, humbled. And when we don't prop up ourselves, when we don't make it all about us. Jesus says if you pray for others to hear, then you've heard your reward. But pray in secret where your Father alone hears. If you give and everybody sees, then you gain your reward. Give in secret so that only your Father sees. It's about it's about humility. It's about losing yourself. It's about laying down your life for something greater than you and living out that humble spirit. Um, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? If we aspire to greatness in the eyes of the world, if we aspire to greatness in the eyes of our culture, if we aspire to greatness in wealth and privilege and status, then congratulations. I've always loved how Revelation talks about how there's going to be streets of gold in heaven. And you may have heard me say this before. I take it literally. I think the gold streets are made of gold in heaven. But I think the greater point, instead of focusing on the gold, is to understand this. The most important resource on the earth throughout all time and space has always been gold. Always been. And in heaven, gold is asphalt. Gold is what you walk on. It's of no value. It's asphalt. So the most important thing in this world is no real value in God's kingdom. So if we're striving and giving all of our worth and our all of our energy and all of everything we have for earthly power and earthly status and being like the disciples and arguing over who's going to be the greatest, then we're missing the point because it's not about who's the greatest, but who's following Jesus. How do we follow Jesus? With humility, with service, by embracing the role of the least of these, by not trying to grab the brass ring, but to kneel at the cross. And I understand that's where greatness lay. Not in the stuff of this world, but in the grace of Jesus Christ. For the least among you is the greatest. Jesus shows us today what true greatness looks like when we understand this truth. Have a great weekend.